Hi, I'm Daphney, and I am a certified date and relationship coach. Today, I want to talk about the movie Monster in Law.
You're bringing a girl home to meet your mother now? Kevin!
I'll introduce you to someone. Mom, I'm Charlie.
Very nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Please sit down.
And get the surprise
Oh my God.
of a lifetime.
Charlie, will you marry me?
No, it's too sudden. She's in shock. Yes! You're gonna need a moment alone. I'll be right back.
Okay, so y'all know who the monster in law is, right? It's Jane Fonda. Of all the people to be a monster in law, it's Jane Fonda. So let's get into it. So there's to me, we're going to talk about the women in the movie. Not that we have anything against the person, the guy who was in the movie, but we're going to talk about the women. So let's start with Jane Fonda, who's the monster in law, right?
How many men have you been sexually active with? What? That many, huh?
So Jane is this older woman, successful. She's been married a few times. She's had a really great career. She has this one son that she loves and adores and, maybe is too attentive towards. I don't know if that's the right, or if those are the right words, but she wants to spend a lot of time with her son, right? So Jane, when the movie starts, is at work and she finds out that she's losing her job, right? And not only is she losing her job, she's losing her job to a very young person, right? Much younger than her. And so at some point during this scene in the movie where she's actually working, right? She loses it and she starts trying to strangle this one person.
Well, remember the significance of Roe versus Wade.
Oh, I don't support boxing as a sport. I think it's too violent.
Y'all better get that little girl out of there.
And then she has to go, get some, help, see a therapist, a counselor, whatever, based on her frustrations and her anger and all the things, right? So basically she's gone through her treatment. She's being released back into the wild. And so now she's ready to, go on with the rest of her life in a more peaceful and zen type of way, so to speak, right? Okay, so that's Jane. So let's talk about Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez is, cute. She's living her best life. She's living on her own terms. She's doing her own thing, right? She's just kind of going with the flow. She got 100 million jobs, and one would think that's not stable, but for her it was stable, right? Because she's doing what she wants to do, right? And that's really what's important here, is that she's living the life that she wants to live. Now, she's single, right? And keeping very busy, with all these different jobs of hers, right? So she's the person who meets the son of the monster-in-law.
Until she met
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Kevin.
Hi.
Hi.
Yes, the monster-in-law. And so let's just skip on over to Wanda Sykes' character. Now, Wanda is the assistant of the monster-in-law, right? She is like assistant, somewhat best friend, somewhat, let me keep you balanced and, and try to stay sane in between all this nonsense of yours, right? That's happening. And so Wanda, who we all know is a very funny person and very funny in this movie, right?
I am sick of you.
And that was one of the things that, to me, it was a great balance of women, right? And that's why I want to talk about the women. But the point that I would like to make today is about trying to control people, which is what the monster-in-law was doing. She was trying to control who her son should be with, trying to control his outcome, his situation. She had this idea of who she thought he should be with, who he should marry, based on her own, experiences. And y'all heard me say she's been married a few times already. I think the number was 4. So, she thinks she's an expert on marriage, which, one could question whether or not she's really an expert on marriage, or if she just didn't know what she was doing, but yet she still wants to tell somebody else how to do, what they need to do when it comes to relationships and marriage, right? So the monster-in-law, was the center of this whole movie. She was trying to control her son. She was trying to control Jennifer Lopez's character. She was trying to control everything, really, and so that's the point I want to make, that you can't control people, right? And you shouldn't try to control people. You should let people live and love how they please, and you should just be happy for them and accept them for who they are and for the choices that they make in their lives. Now, let me say this. Wanda Sykes was hilarious in this movie to me. She was the balance, she was the one who brought the sanity for the monster-in-law, right? And tried to keep her out of trouble.
Ruby, I need a bottle of champagne. We're going to celebrate. May I have the key to the liquor cabinet, please?
What key?
The key, Ruby.
Key? There's no key.
Ruby, give me the key.
You want to take this outside?
But she did it in a very comical way. So I just want to shout out to Wanda Sykes because she made this movie really, really funny. And let me just talk about Jennifer Lopez real quick, right? And I'm just going to say this because I like Jennifer's character. So let me just talk about what I liked about this movie, right? I like Jennifer's character. What I liked about Jennifer is that she didn't try to change herself to fit into this, guy's lifestyle or this family that he was in with his mother, right? This chaotic craziness. She said, look, this is who I am. And y'all are either going to accept me for who I am or I'm going to have to walk, right? I'm going to have to let this go because I'm not changing who I am for anyone or for any situation or circumstance, right? And that's the thing that I really liked about this movie. That Jennifer, throughout the entire movie, she stayed honest with herself, right? And she didn't change. You know what I mean? She was herself through and through. And I think that's really an important part and an important point is that you shouldn't have to change for someone else to love you, right? You shouldn't have to fit into someone else's world, honey. They should fit with you. And if they don't fit with you and it's not mutual, then it's probably not the right fit, so to speak, right? But let me just say that, and people trying to control you, trying to convince you, trying to tell you how you need to be, those are not the right people for you. So my point is this. You can't go around controlling people, right? Leave people alone. If they're not the kind of person you want to be with, then go be with someone else, right? Don't try to change people. Don't try to and don't, buy into this thing when people say, oh, I can change. No, honey, people can change, but they only change when they want to. They don't necessarily change for you. And so my thing is this, my point is to find someone who accepts you for who you are, not someone who's possessive, not someone who's controlling, not someone who's trying to change you, honey. So let me just stop there and say that I'm Daphney, and I want to thank you for watching another episode of Coachable Moments at the Movies.